energy white. I'm all might in the dog fight. You frauds tight, you can't get your call right. I'm all nice, I'm everywhere, you all right. This is a massive thing and you still fall slice. Some might say that I'm good, I'm fantastically fitted in every hood. Them things sitting everywhere you wish you could.
Hey guys, welcome to the lab. Another episode of Sundaze with the Clink Room. We are back to our regularly scheduled program today. We're joined by none other than Patrick Flanagan, Flanagan Studios. How are you doing today, Patrick?
Excellent, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Appreciate you taking the time and being patient with me. We had a little bit of a hiccup in terms of scheduling. Holidays got in the way, and then the non-Critz Mondays. But we're back. You might be carrying the load because this, as I heard through the grapevine, might be the last Critz of December. So
yeah, he mentioned that on the last show, didn't he?
Yeah, so we're saving the best for last.
Exciting.
We're saving the best for last. We got you for a full episode, so we will be covering some Instaship drops and
Cool.
some final reminders, last calls, and then of course the crit stuff. But before we get to that fun, let's kind of break it down. So newly minted. Now I can use actual factual stats. So number 8 designer in terms of volume, sales, and landed hats. Number 8. How does that make you feel?
It was awesome, man. It was really cool to see that on the show. Yeah, it's exciting, man, because it's, you know, I'm a fan of so many of those folks that are on the top 10 and some of the ones that didn't even get mentioned that are killing it out there right now too. So to be in the sentence is cool, let alone even in the top 10. It's awesome, man. Really grateful.
Yeah, I would kind of classify you as not necessarily like a late bloomer in life, but like you're more relatively new to Clink. So Clink Room kind of relaunched at the beginning of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw like kind of the same names, but then I started noticing your name kind of I don't want to say recently, but like more in the, I kind of classify you guys as like a 2.5, not necessarily
right, like second wave.
Yeah. I'm thinking like Sierra, Milosh, Win,
COD,
that kind of wave. That's kind of your peer group. So kind of break it down for us. Like what got you started?
Oh man,
kind of learning about Clink Room.
How much time we got?
Donnie says keep it to an hour so you can watch the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, gosh, man, I don't know. I know the very first Clink I saw was Lion Star. It was a collab with Tanksican and Raelian. And I just thought it was, you know, that's a great hat. Just clean, awesome design. There's a great story behind it. So it really pulled me in, and that's where I started to do the dive into the Clink world. And funny enough, it was available for sale, and I set a pact with myself, and I've never told anybody this, except maybe my wife. I set a deal with myself where I said, I'm not buying a Clink until I get one produced, just to like make myself hungry, like, you know, set up a little goal like that. There's a bunch I regret missing.
Happens.
But I cracked in. Yeah, it's so yeah, man, here we are. Been a journey.
That's pretty cool because you kind of have a full circle moment. You eventually do bare knuckles with Luis.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a real cool thing. But you branded yourself as Flanagan Studios, so you kind of work in that kind of like sports branding / illustration field. What made you inspired to kind of start that and then kind of take that work with the Clink Room?
Yeah, I mean, I think back to like even just like scribbling on my desk in school, you know what I mean? Just like drawing just because I love doing it. Yeah. The things I was emulating was comic book art and sports logos, you know. Fascinated with sports logos, and having played football myself too, like especially leaning in that direction. Like the football mascots are usually, you know, not as maybe not as wild as like minor league baseball, but they tend to be really like sleek and aggressive and fun. So yeah, that's kind of, I just leaned into it because that's what I love doing. And, the minor league hats are so dope, man. The mascots they use on that. So that's what I just enjoy doing. So
nice. Do you have like a favorite project or favorite design that you've worked with the Clink Room?
Oh man, it's hard, like, because I do, and like Creature and those guys that I do collab with, like, they'll tell you, like, I want to do stuff that I'm excited about, so all of them do have like a little bit of a story behind them.
Right.
Obviously the first one, Tokororos, the first one to like crack in, and the mojitos, like having, my mom was born in Cuba, so having the like Cuban heritage and the roots, like those have some deep meaning to them as well. And it's nice to celebrate that. But each and every one of them, like Crescent City, I lived in New Orleans for a little bit, so it was really cool to throw some love to New Orleans too. So I could probably do a deep dive on each one of them, but we don't have time for
that. right. New Orleans probably got some of the best food in the world.
Oof, dude, that was the heaviest I ever was living there.
I'm still recovering from my 2 trips. But so you've mentioned some of your sports background and sports branding. Like, what type of work involves like kind of capturing the identity of a team? Like, where do you kind of approach creating designs that kind of convey the spirit or even like the messaging of a sports team to like a hat design?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially, like when you're talking with anybody, is if it's a commission, you want to represent their brand and their story. So you're trying to meet in that middle ground. You know what I mean? You're just trying to, I think, find the heart of what they want to express. I think with the Clinks, and when it's not, when it's something that I'm just getting to do just for the fun of it, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to express in each design, And ultimately, honestly, man, I've started to think about it, especially as you can see, as unforgiving as the Critz is. Sometimes I think, hey man, if this drawing can make like one person smile throughout the day, success.
I think the puns come in with a lot of that too, like just making sure that like first it's like you're kind of scratching your head like, hey, what's that? And then you kind of figure out, oh, so and so or whatever. So I think that's one real cool thing about the Clink Room, is that sometimes the name can make the hat so much more, or even the story.
Oh, so, yeah, for sure. And some of them, it's funny, like Hunter Moon, that last one, like some of them that may have more detail to them, like go like that just because it all clicks. Like, it comes together so fast. And then other ones you have to rework, or it gets downvoted, and then you go back to the drawing board on it, pun intended. But yeah, it's fun, man. It's exciting stuff, and it's all growth. It's all very entertaining and fun to learn from the other designers too.
Yeah, like in terms of like taking your approach and from the design level up, where does like coloring the hat fall into place in terms of priority? Are you building? Are you sketching first? Are you having a final color in mind, or like where do you kind of sit in that?
Sometimes, like the Wolfman, for example, like I immediately thought of that like navy and olive because of the old school, Wolfman mythology. I actually saw a poster of Lon Chaney's Wolfman that had been like colorized, so that made me think of that. Other times, I don't know. I just kind of like this one came together pretty easily because it's Louisiana inspired, and Casey kind of threw a little bit more flair on it using the turquoises and stuff instead of the Kelly green, which I love. It popped really well.
Give more like Mardi Gras theme.
Yeah. And then sometimes, like, if it's in the drawing, usually what I think you can look at most of my designs, like the colors that are in the design itself are what I'm trying to use on the hat as well. There's maybe a few in there that are contrasty that aren't actually in the logo itself, but I try to go with what's in the logo. And sometimes it's easy to do, and then sometimes I'm bouncing back and forth. And there's still some that are waiting their shot in the Critz that I'm like thinking about going back and just trying some different colorways too.
Yeah, I feel like your style is kind of there's parts of it I feel like that are kind of influenced by sports and sports branding.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm thinking of like throwing heat. I like that could be like a Copa identity.
Well,
like Gary also. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that honestly, like that leading into that very first design that cracked in the Tokororos. That's what that was. It was inspired. My hometown in South Florida, the minor league team there is the Palm Beach Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh man, what would their mascot be if they had a Copa spot? Because
Right.
there's such a big Cuban population there. So it was like easy. Cardinals colors, Cuba's national bird, kind of all came together.
Yeah.
But that one was definitely influenced by a Copa inspired.
That's
idea.
awesome. That's awesome. And I think I was discussing this with Casey last week when we were talking about Lake Erie Osprey. Like I feel like that could be like a minor league hockey team.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. That would be a dream come true to see some of these take off and gain new life somewhere else,
Yeah, I kind of asked you that because you're in a unique position. Not many clinkers kind of stray outside the custom world. I've seen you kind of dabble a little bit within like Major League Baseball, even minor league baseball recolors, and kind of taking a different approach to designing hats. So, on one hand, you have the skill to, take pen to paper and design something from scratch and make it how you want.
Thanks,
and then you've also tried to bring that skill into the mocking up section to, take existing IP or existing logos and try to color them up in unique and different ways. And I see you get involved with the mock-up contests and submitting or even putting together your own hats. So like, do you approach that world differently, or do you kind of see them kind of two birds of
I think probably in a similar way, in the sense that I think in the mock-ups that I have put out, I am trying to I guess convey a story. You know what I mean? Like things that have inspired or entertained me, like the Masters of the Universe type of thing. Growing up in the cities, baby, and like some of the guys I've worked with a lot, like Donovan, will tell you that I'm like clearly heavily influenced by my South Florida upbringing, like trying to throw the Vice colors on everything.
Right.
I like when there is a story behind something, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's easier and conveyed like bam right in front of you, and then sometimes it brings up a conversation to talk about it. I don't remember which clinker sent me the Who is the Hat God tournament.
Okay.
I think it was either the first or the second one. I can't remember right now that I entered first, and I got so hyped up because I was born in Colorado. So I was like, what's going on? There's a hat competition in Colorado. I'm like, game on, let's do this. This is fun. And the very first one I did, I actually did a mascot drawing. I was off the map. I didn't know, what the whole deal was. Like, I did my own mascot. And then I was like, oh, okay. Somebody broke it down to me, and I was like, all right, game on, cool. So I think the next one I made it the Elite 8, and then got voted out. But it opened up some new doors of creativity, man, and new community. So that's the biggest thing is just having fun with it and learning and growing.
That's a tough contest, man. I give credit to anyone who actually tries it. I mean, you're really putting your work out there. You're submitting to the masses and hoping it it does well in the vote, and people are nitpicking it. You should have did this or you should have did that, and it takes a lot. Like I even wonder myself, like sometimes, like if I were to enter something, I don't even think I'd come close to winning. But those are definitely hard contests. I mean, even the same thing with the Clink Room, even just
that's what I was just going to say, man. The crits, it toughens you up, man. In a past life, I was pursuing acting, so like you dealt with rejection left and right, and that going in for auditions and that sort of stuff. So you take it and you learn and you grow from each one, But
I've gotten pretty lucky in that my hit rate is pretty high in terms of percentage. I don't take many shots with the Clink Room in terms of like putting my I don't draw. Like I have a business partner that does my drawing for me.
Oh, cool.
Or with me, we kind of conceptualize together. So we got pretty lucky when we were like, okay, we'll try it this time. I think during the pandemic when we couldn't make hats and Clink was still making hats, we're like, all right, fuck it, let's do a couple. So we got pretty lucky in that sense. But like in terms of having to rely on it and do it all the time, I don't know if my nerves can take it. So appreciation to all you clinkers out there that really
hey man, cheers to all you guys.
Exactly.
And gals.
In terms of like the world of evolving trends when it comes to like design and branding, like what are some of the things that you do to ensure that your work remains relevant and kind of resonates with what's currently on trend?
Man, I've had this conversation with a couple of guys behind the scenes too, and I think honestly, and maybe it's just me being older, is just being true to yourself. You know, it may not be something that sometimes like is popular, but because I think it works and it resonates with me, I still put it out there. And if it gets tweaked or it gets downvoted, it is what it is, and I learn from it. But yeah, there are just some classic things you don't steer away from, and some of the guys, you know, will talk some sense into me, like throw a Kelly Green under visor on that, please. You know what I mean? So, but I think as far as trends are concerned, like I think you got to try new things. You know what I mean? You never know when you're going to start the next trend. So take your shots when you can, and you know, if you miss, no big deal. Move on, go to the next thing, and just roll with it, man. We're all learning from each other.
It's kind of crazy, the world of hats. So basically, we saw a huge explosion with hat collecting, and it was powered by the colored undervisor, pink and blue, mostly for Hat Club, if we're being honest. But to see it kind of revert back and see the pendulum swing the other way, whereas like now when people see an under that's not green, gray, it's almost like you're shooting yourself in the foot. So it is interesting to see kind of how that plays out and kind of where it will go. Because if we do stick with just green and grays, you're severely limiting your color choices.
Right.
But I can't argue with it. Green and gray are still my favorite unders.
They're clean.
So,
they're clean. They're classic, man, for sure. But like I was just saying, and like you just kind of started to get to, is that you know, when you do branch out, you kind of get some cool, fun storytelling with the hat itself, you know. And kudos to Clink for taking some shots, man. They're fun.
Oh hell yeah. I still love a good volt UV or infrared UV. You know, pink I still like a lot, but you know, when it comes down to like a clean, like cut design,
classic,
green and gray, especially if you're like retroing like minor league stuff or doing stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's funny you brought up the bolt, like, and earlier you were talking about throwing heat. Like Sierra and I put together, I don't remember how many different colorways for that hat, and then they chose that one. We're like, woof, that's the bright one. It's honestly, it's like one of my favorite hats to rock now, because because you look at my row of hats, like I know exactly where that one is, you know.
When you go out too, you'll know that you're not going to bump into anybody with that hat color. Almost
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That kind of like lime green with like that hot red, like it's it definitely stands out. And you know, it reminds me of a time, you know, when Copa was, you know, on its swing up with like hundreds of teams. It kind of started with like 60, then the next year's like 90, and then it went
man, for sure,
on and on and on. But you talk a little bit about the collaborative process. So collaboration is kind of one of those things that's, you know, critical in, you know, creative type industries. So like, do you have any advice either for the designers out there looking to collaborate with I guess like the idea type people, and the other way around? Like, what kind of advice could you give to the concepts artists on approaching the artist on you know, finding a good pairing, basically?
I mean, just reach out. It doesn't hurt to reach out. I did the very first commission I put together. I reached out to a couple clinkers, and cheers to Magnus. Magnus actually hit me back up and kind of just like gave me some pointers and notes. So it never hurts just to reach out to any of us and just chat. You know what I mean? And like Lane and I recently just did one, and we've bounced some ideas back and forth off of each other. And then he sent me another one, and I was like, man, I don't know. I'm like, that's really dope, but I think that suits so-and-so style more. So like, just, it's one big community. So just reach out and, be honest and truthful with each other and have fun with it, man. Don't take anything personal either, because sometimes it's like somebody may be, it's not my full-time job yet.
Yeah.
Would. But I may be stuck in the middle of like a crazy work week. So I'm like, I just can't do it right now, type of situation. So just reach out. Doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So last question before we get on with the other part of the show. But
excited.
are there any specific athletes, teams, or sports you've ever dreamed about working with in the future, and why?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've emailed the boss man, and
Okay.
Obviously, like, dream come true. I'll say it first time right here. I would love to see like the Tokororos become a Copa in South Florida, in my hometown.
Cool.
I think I even tagged the Palm Beach Cardinals. I used to, I did one season. I filled in for my cousin who worked there full time at the time. I did one season in the press box there in the sound. So it would be really cool to break in with a home team. That would be the dream come true. But
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. Other than that, like, down, be fun all over the place. It's always exciting. Like, I did a rebrand for a youth lacrosse team in Baltimore, and they were all super excited about it and sent me photos and stuff. And people send you swag, and it's really cool that somebody just wants to rock your logo proudly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a lot of times you don't really get the true story of like where stuff comes from. You just always kind of assume it like either just appears, or your team always has it, and then one changes and it's like a little bit different. But yeah, sometimes it's cool to learn the origins of stuff and who's behind what. And
it's some guy at 5 o'clock in the morning, like Northeast Ohio.
Yeah. But like even like seeing like the stuff that gets stuck on the cutting room floor, like the stuff that the teams don't pick, and I was recently kind of researching a little bit about the Raptors and kind of their early colorways. They wanted like lime green, and it got rejected. And originally it was supposed to be like purple, but then the commissioner wanted it to tie back to Canada more, so they made them red. So it's like small little things like that you learn about your teams, and just kind of how like brand identities get started. And I can nerd out about that stuff.
Dude, me too. It's a story. It's a story. Like I was saying, you know what I mean? It tells the story of the town and the people. So
exactly. All right,
man.
Well, thanks for doing that. Let's get into the nitty gritty. So Instaship. So if you guys are part of the VIP program, it doesn't cost anything to join. So make sure you guys are signing up to join the Clink Club. But they did do a dead stock drop Monday night for VIPs, and then Tuesday for the general public. But let's kind of review what came out. So just a reminder, these are not for pre-order. These are leftovers typically from the pre-orders. Once they ship them out and there are no shipping issues, then they kind of release them whenever they can, usually at the beginning of the week. So there was a big drop, and we'll kind of get through and see what they did. So first off, we have some lifestyle pictures via Cat Fiend Omar. So the Skullet, the Buffs, and Sunbird's neon version are the ones that he owned, and he provided the pictures for those. But any initial thoughts on these three hats?
Yeah, I wondered if Omar, did these on his own, or if he worked and collabed with Clink. He gets some great shots, man.
Yeah. He's all
Skullet is straight up like 90s vibes. Like, I'm an 80s baby, so you throw on neon colors and that sort of stuff, like instantly I'm drawn. I think it's fun, pops, stands right out. That'll definitely get scooped up.
Yeah, so we talked about the colored UV and stuff like that. Like, that hat doesn't work with a regular green or gray UV.
No, not at all.
You need that funky, was it Volt or even?
Yeah, I think it is
lime green. Either way, like you need.
And it ties into the shades. It's the reflection in the glasses too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ink Park back with Buffs. That's a crazy one. And then the Sunbirds neon version. So that I feel like Sunbirds suffers a little bit if you just look at the mock-up. Once you look at it in hand, the simplicity kind of takes over. Like that's one of those ones you kind of see in the mock-up, and you're like, okay, cool, whatever. It's it's symmetrical, it's clean. There's nothing wrong with it. But once you see that kind of puff embroidery and then the vibrant colors and everything kind of hit it, you're like, all right, that's a hat to own.
Yeah, and Austin's been doing it for a minute, so he's got to be thinking about that when he's doing it, and it works. Like it stands right out. It pops, man. It's cool.
Yeah, I think the one though on this particular trio, like the one you gotta own is the skullet, man. Like I think.
You think
something
so?
about it. It's just cool, man. It's like a skull with a.
I honestly, this Sunbirds neon might be my favorite version of the Sunbirds.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and I wear way too much navy blue, so maybe I shouldn't. But
there's not a bad hat on this slide.
No, not at all.
Honest.
Not at all. Yeah, and I like how Ink through, like, even though it's modernized, like that buffalo on buffs still has like a vintage mascot look to it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're all sharp. They'll get scooped up quickly.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. So we got Toucan Tropics by Win, Bad to the Bull by Seconds, and the Milosh is back with, I think this was originally called Houdini, renamed to Poof.
Yeah.
You have any initial thoughts on this?
Yeah. I mean, right out the gate, I think you guys were talking about it last week with the use of lighting. Milosh killed it with that Poof, like reflecting on the owl there.
Yeah.
And Win's Toucan too. Like it looks like it's just glowing, tropical. And talking about stories, I like that Seconds kind of, he did Bad to the Bird, Bad to the Bull. Like you could see all those hats lined up next to each other and you know exactly who they are.
It's funny. I think I saw his story today and he titled it, I think I just shit myself. Because it was his reaction to having Bert Kreischer wear that hat.
No, so I listened to Two Bears in my community.
Oh no, he actually said
he legit says that. So I think it was just great use of him screenshotting that caption. Yeah, not to plug Two Bears, but yeah, he said that, and Tom like legit starts gagging while he's trying to check to see. Now
that I say that, I do remember watching the clip now somewhere else, and Bert actually thought he shit himself, and he actually checks in a very gross way. But cool to see the stuff out there. Dude, Bert's a huge
so rad. Like, he was wearing I think Mojitos was my first one that I saw him wear, and I lost it because I listened to that on my way to work. So and he's definitely probably the most famous hat collector out there right now, I would assume, with the podcast and the, Netflix specials and all that. It's pretty dope to see your artwork out there.
He gives away the hats after. So
no, I didn't.
Like after a while, you'll see in his story, like, hey, whoever's in San Diego, pull up. I'm giving away free hats. So I guess he wears them for a while and he gives them away to fans. But what's interesting is he wears size 8. So most people, I know that because I wear size 8.
I was going to say I'm out.
Yeah, most mortals are not wearing a size 8. But I mean, it'd be still cool to receive a hat from him, even though
for sure.
you never wear it.
Absolutely.
Right?
And you probably wouldn't want to wear it. Just keep it up in the collection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
solid lineup, man.
He's kind of known for it. Like you never really see him in the same hat multiple times. He kind of, so he's got a fresh one on. But
within that week, and then it's like you don't see it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, moving forward. Boba Boy, dope. Devil in the Details. I believe Devil in Details was definitely one of the best sellers of the year. And then Kingfish.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Devil was 8. I believe I want to say.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm bad. I put together the slides and then I don't even remember. but what are your initial thoughts here?
What's funny is I got to talk about it right away is the Kingfisher. Like Paige killed it with the splash and all that. And we literally drew a Kingfisher right around the exact same time of each other.
Oh,
And then
shoot.
I ended up messaging him, was like, dude, I was like, he's like, roll with it. Like, it's cool. And then it ended up getting voted through as well. So, but it's interesting because even the color on the birds is similar, but completely different logos. You know, mine's like riding the head of an alligator, and his is like doing that crazy dive, making that splash with the crown. So, going back to the storytelling, like you could have two people out there with a similar idea tells a completely different story, and it's really neat. That's cool that's on there because I didn't get that one, so I might chop that one.
Yeah. The Kingfisher just gives me grade 9 science vibes. That was like the cover of my science textbook, and I didn't do too well in it, so it gives me not Kyle's fault.
Brings up bad memories.
Yeah, brings up bad memories. But the Devil in Details, that's another one kind of similar to the Sunbird's Neon, where you see it in the mock-up and you're like, yeah, okay, cool.
Right.
And then when you really see it executed, I mean, it almost looks like single brushstroke paint on like a lowrider.
Yeah.
One pass, like I don't know, man. Like, something about it is just so clean. RW3 and Jason V, well deserved of the top 10 spot. That is a clean hat. That thing would look crazy on like a darker color, maybe like a super dark purple or even black.
For sure.
Yeah, just to make that red pop a little bit more, because you kind of have red on red. I'd love to see that come back in like a darker color, even navy. I mean, just anything. But
based on sales, it probably will, right? It should. You know. Yeah, I saw a lot of people commenting on it because they didn't initially notice it spelled out in the details too, and they were like, after the fact. Yeah.
He's got like a little cross hidden too, and his
it's crazy.
It's just
the upside down cross, dude. I never noticed that in the nose until just now either.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's Jason V, man, next level. And then Boba Boy, man. I think he's got like this like fun little series going with like these drinks, caffeine power, beer power.
Yeah. Him and Avian do like really cool work together, man.
And then I don't know if you're a big boba drinker yourself, or here we call it bubble tea, but either way, the way he kind of made the pearls or the tapioca within the cup kind of like half hidden and not really clear, like that's actually what it looks like in the drink. So it's just that like little level of detail, man. It's just, he killed it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't see it as much up here in Northeast Ohio. I spent a couple years in LA and obviously everywhere in LA. But how it's like just hiding in the tea there, like right around the mouth, those tiny little dots, like that's a little boba, but that's some like using minimalism to express the detail is awesome. That's really cool. And that's something I've learned from working with all these guys and gals in the Clink Room too. It's neat. I don't always execute it as well. Usually getting in my own way usually.
Yeah, you see it really played well when the thing is done though. You might not notice it. That's not something you might notice with the embroidery. Right. But I've definitely tried to mess around with that logo, and I didn't notice that until looking at it now with the way it kind of embroidered. I was like, holy shit, like that's like high level. But yeah,
for sure.
These are a great 3 as well. So we got Strike 3, Lane and Rafael. I believe that's based on Bo Jackson, the way he used to snap bats. Aloha, Clinker Casey, that was paying homage to his father. And then D's, they left the other word out, but you can think about it and put it together. But your hat is up here.
I saw that. Here. That's fun, man. I don't know. It's one of those ones that I think when I was thinking about it and sketching it up, I was just chuckling, like just having a good time with it. We have massive fox squirrels here in Ohio. So they're like tan, copper, gray, and they're not frightened of you at all. They will just walk straight up to you. And Yeah. So that probably came about while I was going for a walk with my wife and dog, and the squirrels were not fazed by protecting their nuts, if you will. So yeah, that one was a lot of fun to put together, and I'm glad it made some people chuckle. And it's back. If anybody wants it, it's still available.
Yeah, if you missed out on it, you can definitely get it in the Instaship store.
Yeah, Sierra too. I got to give a shout out to Sierra. Sierra's got a squirrel catcher that he did a while ago, and I just didn't even think about it. And then I saw his posted, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I did a squirrel with a bat, blah blah blah," and he was totally cool with it. We both just put him out there, and that's when I came out. But it'd be really dope to see his come out too, because it's in like catcher gear as well with a different colorway, and they both pair pretty well together too.
At this point, I think Clink is approaching 2,000 unique designs.
Oh wow!
So there's bound to be, some type of overlap, and like once someone does a type of animal, it shouldn't mean that you can't do it. But sometimes it's tough, and you sound like you go through it, like you go through the proper channels when you find out, and just kind of just tell people.
For sure, we all have communications. I think for the most part, that when you're posting something that's similar to somebody else's, or somebody will say, "Hey, so and so did this." Like we have conversations about it. It's like everybody's been really cool about it for the most part, though. And like we get it, man. Once it's out in the zeitgeist, like what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Casey's is another one too. Not to toot his horn, but that's another one talking about the boba. Like when you see it drawn, like to see it actually embroidered is a completely different thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. That pops big time, like a lei floating on the water. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's an actual, you can actually reach out and touch it with the texture and all that. I think he nailed it. And, especially being a tribute piece to his father, you knew that he, put that extra touch in it for sure. And, the Strike 3, when I saw it kind of mocked up, I was worried that it would be, too small on the scenes, because it is kind of a narrow design. But seeing it on the hat, I think it's a great size. It reminds me, I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but the Richmond Rhinos, where it was like a what if minor league team. They just re-released. Yeah, they just re-released and uncovered a logo at the New Era Buffalo store. So shout out to DJ for doing that. But it's pretty much, it reminds me of that a lot, and it's kind of cool. I might have to swing back and pick that up and just kind of do a little group shot. But definitely a cool concept by Lane and Raphael. And Bo Jackson, man, that guy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
strong like a rhino too, right? Like
talking about Bo Jackson, like I would love to see this in a Kansas City Royals colorway. That'd be really dope. Maybe use some like pewter or something for the rhino skin too, like kind of mix it up a little bit more. Yeah, that'd be rad.
We definitely seen him break the bat on his knee, but he definitely, he did the head one, which I don't think anyone has ever done. Breaking a bat, snapping it on the
like a twig.
It didn't make sense. I'm like,
I mean, those of us that are 80s babies, like growing up watching him, like I had the Bo Nose posters on my wall and stuff like that. The guy was a specimen. He's just incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
All timer in terms of
great homage piece.
For sure. All right, let's see what else we got. So the last two. So the Great Blue Heron by Wind Studio and the Silent Storm, I think originally called the Quiet Storm. Changed for obvious reasons, but Lane and Aurelian with their hip hop tribute to Mobb Deep. So Great Blue Heron and Silent Storm. What are your initial thoughts here?
Kind of what we were talking about earlier on some of those pieces, like phenomenal use of lighting on both of them. And mixing it up, like Aurelian, I have a few of his hats, like does that great like logo mascot style where using bold lines and all that. And then if you look at that, there's not like a massive deep dark line anywhere, just using the colors of the cloud, and similar with what Wind's doing with the reflection in the water and stuff too, behind the bird. You know, that's stuff, like seeing some of these other folks doing that, like trying to learn and implement that sort of thing too, to branch out, you know. So yeah, just dope, really cool use of lighting.
Yeah, having that unique like yellow underlit object, and then having that paired with the under visor being yellow, I just think that's like a really cool touch. And like you said, he's packing layers of texture to kind of form his image, which is really, really cool and hard to express and hard to do. He had to have sent this in layers, maybe. I don't know, but either way.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does it differently. I don't know. Like, I feel like I still approach every single one. Like, I start out just because of learning to draw from Stan Lee's How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, like with a light blue pencil. Like, that's how I start all my sketches in Procreate, is a light blue pencil. But then, you know, you have to approach them differently. And I would assume he still would have, but yeah, I don't know. Your mind just lets you run with it after that, you know. Him and like Seamus is really good at like doing clouds and shapes and lighting and whatnot without using like harsh, bold lines, you know. So it's really neat, and it's really cool to see what we can all learn from each other. And
hell yeah,
it's dope.
Aurelian has like a really unique skill to make everything, all his characters seem to have so much like personality. You can almost like talk to him. I mean, this guy can't because his mouth is zipped shut, but you know, for the most part.
Dude, Phil too. Phil Hauser's like, his character work is crazy too. Really dope. Really dope.
Exactly.
All convey a good amount of movement in them too.
Exactly. Well, thanks for going through that with me. That concludes the Instaship portion. So now we'll be getting into the crits. So let's see. Oh no, we're not getting. We're doing last call. Right. I forgot. Yeah. So these 6 designs will be going into pre-order midnight tonight. So we got Polar Dreamscape, Sweet Spot, and Remembrance. Any initial thoughts on these?
Yeah, I mean, immediately I'm drawn right to Seamus and Eric's Remembrance. Like literally, we were just talking about use of lighting, and then, you know, doing something different than just the mascot thing. I mean, it draws your eyes immediately. There's so much heart in that piece. There's so much story in that piece. It's beautifully done, man. And that is going to look wild embroidered, you know, like talk about a hat that's really going to stand out. That's definitely going to stand out for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that one has come a long way from the original. The original had like so many pieces to it. They really simpled it, like brought it down to 3 and really packed those 3 with a lot of details. He's using the hat color as water, which I think is an awesome touch. The reflection's cool, and I think that one hits the mark totally. And kind of seeing that play out, I think I was in Thailand back in 2017.
Oh, cool.
For a friend's wedding, and we kind of walked by and saw that kind of happening in person. I was like, oh, that's real cool to kind of see someone take that piece of, you know, culture and you know, kind of try to spread it. So that's awesome. Sweet Spot, you know, who doesn't love a good ice cream at the ball game? Helmet in the ice cream in the helmet is like a staple, right?
And Cod's definitely got like a little series going with like Maki Smashers and
the swinging stuff. Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, he does it well. So he's keeping it rolling, and it's like a little food series he's got going. It's really cool. That's dope. You can definitely see a lot of people rocking that at the ballpark for sure.
And then Milos with the Dreamscape. It's got, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a hidden
sled,
dark
right?
Santa with the reindeer kind of in the back of the polar bear. That one kind of similar in terms of colorway to Remembrance, but the theme is completely different. So that one, when I saw it, I knew it was going to make it through. The only thing I can say about that one is it almost is too good. There's too many things that are happening. So you got the landscape part of it with like the mountains and the trees look awesome, and then the bear is drawn immaculately, and then you got the hidden glow.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
almost like too much, but it is an awesome design.
He kills it, like him and Don's Bone Voyage too. Like, you know, we talk all the times and like talk about remembrance of trying not to get too detailed, but then like, boom, then you have these two pieces right here that do have a lot of detail, but like executed well enough that it still tells the story, you know?
Yeah.
In a really rad way too. So it's possible. And this kind of goes back to us talking about like bucking trends, like trying new things to see what can work, you know, and if you got to rework it, see what happens. And man, they did it. Sure.
I think it's going to come out crazy. Like even like the outline, he didn't even just end it with a simple outline. Some of them have edges of trees. Like he threw so many little Easter eggs in this hat that I think it's crazy, man. I really like that one, man. Like that's
really cool. Yeah.
All right. So let's see the other three. So we got Lady in Red, $1, and Departed. Any initial thoughts here?
Yeah, I already copped $1. Shout out to Levi.
Yeah.
That's it. I think that's his like first solo one to get voted through and make it. And man, what a strong one, you know, to get your first full on design through. It's awesome. That one's so rad, man. Kind of having the money vibes to it, you know. Again, great storytelling. Like, boom, says it all right there, and it's great colorway too.
That's the standout, man. Money hats, just for some reason, like that kind of Vegas gold and cilantro green with the hints of filigree. I think he nailed it.
Killed it.
He did a great job. I wish there was enough space, and there probably isn't, but to write like
write something
on the little bar thing, but there's probably not enough.
Dude, somehow Sierra and I got away with squeezing fuego on that throwing heat. But I think the banner was a little bit bigger, so it would be really tricky. But that's awesome. And another one, talk about throwing some detail in there and making it work. Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Happy for that guy too.
Skulls always do well, so you got like a
nice man. Skulls sell. That's what we always say in the chats. We're always like, well, skulls sell.
Yeah, I mean,
they get voted through.
I'm guilty of buying a hat because it has a skull in it too. So
I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, so. exactly. And then Lady in Red. He's got the the good versus evil dynamic. It almost is in the shape of yin yang almost.
Little Red Riding Hood vibes.
Little Red Riding Hood, yeah. So that one's interesting.
I'm a sucker for werewolves and that mythology. So of course I'm drawn to that too. And he's kind of carried that female character into a lot of his different designs. I don't know if it's like the same inspiration. I'd be curious to hear the story behind that actually.
Yeah.
But who it may be paying homage to. But it's cool. It's dope. I like the colors too. Obviously works out really well.
Mm-hmm. He's got a signature speed marks going both ways.
Right.
So solid hat altogether. But yeah, those are the 6 that are up for pre-order that are ending tonight. All right. This is going to be a little bit of a take 2. We ended up recording what we thought was Critz the first time. We had tried to do our homework a little bit early this time, but we had gotten a last-minute upgrade to the Critz, so that's exciting. Yes. So being that this is the last Critz of the year, some got pushed in that were late entries from the last couple days / last week. So they got put into the Critz. So let's get into it. The final Critz of 2023.
It's crazy,
first
man.
Off, yeah. Time flew. It flew so fast that we changed clothes. So let's get into it. First off, we have Matthew Bell out of London, Ontario, the Necromancer. What are you thinking?
I'm pretty sure I commented on this one. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it's fire, dude. It's like it's got everything you want in a logo. It's got the movement. It's got that fun backlighting, great colors. I don't know how a lot of people will feel about the tonal, but I like it. I think it's kind of cool because it plays a part of the story. Yeah, this is definitely like, I don't even think Matt would argue that like this is one of his best. Like that's really cool, man. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I love like funky slime green with purple. I think that always goes well. Like kind of fits in that like Nola Voodoo style colorway. You got the resurrection of someone, so that kind of fits that theme too. So I would just flip the visor. So either if you want to keep it a two-tone, if you want to keep it a two-tone, maybe go gray under just to kind of chill it out because there is so much happening up top. Worst case, you flip the visor. You can keep the button green, purple over, green under, just to kind of break it up a little bit. But yeah, a lot of people don't like the tonal crown. So what we mean by that is one color crown and the same color under. Other than that, I think if we're just looking at the art's right there. So
really strong. Like it's kind of one of those ones that jumps out at you that like off top head, like 100%. I think it'll get the votes, and I think it could be one of those ones that really stands out and could be a future Hall of Famer. You know, you never know how it's going to go in the shop, but it absolutely could. Good work, Matt. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and this is when you wonder about if they do add the glow and dark elements on some of the accents. You know, I wouldn't be mad at that. So
no, not at all.
Great work, Matt. All right.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we have the Trident. So Clinker Wind Studio, back with the skull, and then the Trident puncturing it. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it's fun. That'd be funny if we're gonna get like a whole Critz of skulls now. Just
they sell, man.
Skulls do sell.
Skulls sell. So
no, this is another one that I commented on too. It jumped out at me right away. Yeah, it's a fun one. It's cool. Again, plenty of movement in the water while still being a stationary object right there. I like the colors. I'm big in blues. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's a good one. Yeah, I like the details on the wave.
Yeah, it's interesting. He took like a different like art style to this. You can kind of see the big bold black outlines and then the blue kind of extending out almost like a watercolor or like he almost drew this in layers. So I think that's really interesting. I do find it interesting that he didn't outline the small blue dots. So that changes it a little bit. I don't know if I would maybe a half outline or some black to just hold in those little dots or even get rid of them. Some of
in
them,
the water.
Like the bottom ones you don't, the little splash marks you don't really necessarily need.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I would do differently potentially would be to change the color of the skull or the trident just to make it more contrast, just to kind of contrast that out. Maybe go a little to the whiter side on the skull, and maybe go closer to the gold or the yellow,
like
athletic.
You could do like a chrome or like even like a spur silver or something. Just to add to that contrast. I do like the idea of maybe taking the line work off of the waves itself too, and using the different colors. Seamus is really good at that. Like somehow implementing everything without doing line work. So it kind of is reminiscent of that, like his Lamageddon, how he does it in the clouds and stuff like that. That could work really well in those waves.
Have you ever seen those artists that do the glass panel art? Where they have like so many glass panels and then they just paint one layer of color and then another one, and then when you put them all together, it's like almost a 3D image. Cool. Yeah, that's like kind of the I envision Seamus thinking like that at least.
Probably. It would totally work on the water as well. It's already really strong, and I could definitely see this getting voted through for sure. You never know with the crits, but it's a strong one, and like I said, I did comment on it. It jumped out at me right away. So cool, man. Good work, Win.
Yeah, good work, Win. All right, moving forward, the Man Eaters, designed by Jake. This one's interesting. You have any initial thoughts?
I do actually. Jake, he's like one of my good friends that we like bounce ideas and stuff off of each other quite a bit. So I'm super stoked to see this in the crits for him. He works hard at it, man, and it was one of those ones that he was really passionate about, and wanted to make it work. And I think it's fun. I like the bubbles. I think it's really cool. It's definitely different. Like he's definitely got his own style. It's kind of one of those things where you like see it and it's got his voice in it, Yeah. It's fun. And maybe at best, and I think he did work with it of like throwing a little water or something underneath his belly or something. No, it's fun. It's wicked. And, being a kid that grew up in South Florida, like the colors, like the blues and those energy reds and, vice blues and pinks, like they jump out at me. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. This is almost like that Marlin M era style colorway, which is awesome.
Dude, that's so funny. I just picked up a Sugar King's hat. That's like almost the exact same colorway now that you say that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I feel like Jake's like style is, like I said, it speaks right away that it's him, and it's almost like one of those ones that gives off like tattoo vibes. Like you could see somebody wanting to get this tatted on them.
I was just gonna ask you. It's funny you mentioned that. I was just gonna ask you if you know if Jake has a background in tattoo, because this is blocked like a tattoo.
Gosh, I don't know if he does actually. I don't actually. That's not something we've probably chatted about. We just kind of throw art back and forth at each other from time to time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, like the outline reminds me of it, like a piece of flash art or something. That's
for sure.
I could see this, on like one of those tattoo reveal like reels where someone just scratches off like the suds or moves around the paper, and then the finished tattoos there. This one's really interesting. I think it almost looks like the shark is in pre-bite, but the bite's already happened. And sharks have like a weird thing once they actually bite, like there's like their eyelid closes for protection to
it goes white out basically.
Yeah, so those are the small things I would think about potentially. I don't know how he would change it. I don't even know what a shark looks like post-bite, to be honest. Like, do they just bite stuff and stuff just falls apart?
Yeah,
I don't know, but he does look like he's in pre-bite, but the bite's already happened. Maybe he's going in for a second shot. I'm not sure, but I without super analyzing, shark bites, I think it's a good-looking hat. The art's great. The big bold out. I like big bold outlines. Yeah, the bubbles are cool. He's really going for the Fisherman's Revenge. So I'm into this one, man.
That would have been a good name too.
yeah.
I'm intrigued to see how it does. This was one of those ones that he sent me, and I was like, man, I don't know, like. And then he sent it back previous to this, so this is the first time I've seen it with these bubbles and stuff. But I'm hyped that it's in there. Maybe it could like just scoot over a little bit more and tilt it. But again, that's nitpicking. Like it's a fun design, and it's one of those ones that, you wait and see how it does. But I'm happy it's in there for him, man. That's cool.
Definitely. Good job, Jake.
Man, strong 3 so far. This is fun.
Strong three.
Damn.
All right.
Oh,
speaking of Seamus, and you brought this one up. So now they're back with the zombie Lamageddon. What do you think?
I mean, how does that not get through? Like, it is really cool. He's kind of like, I mean, Seamus has almost got to throw the llama or the alpaca in his name somehow. Between that other one and now this one. Man, really cool. Just fantastic use of like lighting, and I'd be interested. It'd be so fun to have like a little sit down and circle with a bunch of the clinkers that obviously have completely different styles of way they approach things, like how he approaches this without, the bolder lines and that sort of thing, and implementing the colors in and the shading. If he's just using it, just basically painting it and then creating the logo. Really neat. That could embroider really fun, and be another one of those ones that just is a standout. And I think I did comment on this one that I think this is like, and again, I don't think Seamus would argue, like it's like one of his best. Like, that is cool, man. Really fun. A lot of depth even in the shading and that like nasty jaw on the back. That's like clearly being the darker color. Yeah, hey, kudos to him and Creature there. It's fun.
This just works. Greens he's implemented, and almost as if he's like worked at like a t-shirt screen print shop just to understand, the textures and the layers. And like you said, there's not a single piece of black here, so there's nothing really holding in the image, but you know that this is going to be textured. You can almost feel the different ridges and the differences there. And it's interesting. This is pretty much the same colorway that Matt Bell did with Necromancer. With the visor flips.
Exactly.
They didn't opt to do the green button, which is fine. This is a good looking hat. The first one was a Hall of Famer. This one easily.
Yeah. It's fun. I'm just now noticing it too. I didn't notice it in the post, but like the hole in the cloud, I wonder if that's the like whole nod to like aim for the head for a zombie. If that's why he's got the hole in the head in the cloud. Yeah, it'd be neat to see like the different levels of embroidery. How Clink and Casey would approach it. Yeah, it's cool, man. Good work, fellas.
It's perfect timing too, because their first piece is set to land any moment.
Is it in this wave, in the December wave? I think.
I believe so. If I'm counting the months right.
Cool.
I wouldn't be too surprised. So this is perfect timing. You're gonna get the whole FOMO of people posting, look what I got, and then you're like, oh, I wish I knew. If I knew it was that good, I would have ordered it. So you're gonna get a lot of that talk. So if you missed out, here, get the sequel. Yeah, and everyone who bought the first one is gonna probably buy this one.
Yeah, I think Aaron, aka Househead, he says it best. He's like, dude, just order it and forget you ordered it. Like, then when they start shipping and rolling in, like that's when you get excited about it.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's cool. But well done, fellas. Dude, this is super strong, by the way. Like, I'm very curious to see how these votes go down on Monday.
Well, it's going to be a bloodbath because everyone knows it's the last one. So you might see a lot of downvoting, actually.
Might be a Clink in that, by the way, bloodbath. Somebody hasn't done that.
Nice. All right, let's do it. Dragon Equinox. So this was a design by Milos that kind of came more recently. We saw a couple process videos of him drawing it. I don't know if you saw that reel, but that was really cool.
Yeah.
So we got the yin yang of dragon and snake. Any thoughts here?
Fire. Dude, Milos is another one of those guys that will, from time to time, send sketches back and forth. And again, like, these other fellows too that have been in here, big fan of his stuff. Really bold, and like he's got great use of knowing when to use the bold lines and then when to take them out. I'm a big fan of his stuff. Big fan of Bruce Lee as well. I got Be Water tattooed on my arm, actually.
Oh, nice.
So this kind of that speaks to the dragon fan in me as well. The whole symbol for Jeet Kune Do was yin and yang with the arrows on either side. So yeah, it speaks to me big time. Man, I love the colors. So dude, another one. Like, how does this not get through? Have we ever had a Critz where they all went through?
No, you can't. Physically, I don't think so.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because if you
there's 10, go to 6.
Right. Man, this is a tough lineup, dude.
Yeah.
Oof. Jeez.
Yeah, I like the use of still having crazy detail, but then bringing it back with the silhouettes of the hands, because that's something where like if you're less experienced, you can easily lose it right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, wonderfully drawn. The symbolism is really cool. You got the yin yang. You got the two animals. I don't know if they're necessarily connected in like Asian culture between a dragon and a snake, but either way it looks.
I think he did mention something in the comment that hey, sorry, my dog just woke up.
No problem.
That he did mention something in the comments about the mythology behind the dragon and the snake.
Okay.
It's escaping me now, but that's something that I think I spoke on already, is like sometimes trying to take on that less is more mentality that I struggle with from time to time, is like, maybe taking some of those deeper lines off of the scales and stuff, which he did, and took that out of there. So you know, and maybe this goes back to us like talking about, you know, other folks that are just getting started out, is like, see what's working already. You know what I mean? See what's in the shop and see what's really strong. Cause this is a good example of that will work out really well.
Yeah.
Okay.
How would you feel about him like almost losing the yin yang as like a solid image and just kind of making it form the yin yang in like a more of like a just like hidden somewhere in the.
I'm down for that. I mean, I love when there's you know, something that some people may see and some others may not, and then once you do see it, you're like, oh geez, I didn't notice that before. You know, talking back on Seamus and Creatures, Lamageddon, like I didn't notice the, you know, the hole in the head initially. So I think that's fun. Adding that little addition to the storytelling, something that jumps out at you later, and gives it that kind of aha or a little cherry on top, like we talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah, sneak it in there. That could be cool.
I'm thinking maybe like the dragon spinning a fireball, or
oh, that'd be cool.
The snake is going after an egg or something, and then that forms the yin yang, as opposed to because you're just so used to my only argument is like you're so used to seeing the yin yang in black and white.
Yeah.
So now it's got like the red, which is almost looks Japanese, and then the brown, beige kind of color. So I don't know. That's me talking out loud. I think the design is excellent as it is. Usually in like Chinese settings, usually you see like a dragon and a phoenix, not necessarily a dragon and a snake. So
right.
There's some small stuff here and there, but like the way it looks is a great looking hat.
For sure.
So,
for sure.
So
Yeah.
Those are just small nitpicks.
Of course,
me thinking out loud,
brainstorming and spitballing.
Yeah, but I don't doubt that this will get through, and I will be very surprised if it doesn't.
Dude, again, another one. Like, cheers, Milos. Great work, man.
He's come a super long way too, so shout out to him. And a great supporter of the show, always commenting.
Oh, cool.
And
awesome,
very
man.
appreciative.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. Really good dude, and always like expressing his gratitude and stuff, and and humbly as well.
Exactly. We got to get you on the show, Milos. So I'll have my people reach out to your people. But let's move forward. The next one is Creamoose by
nice.
Clinker Green Toxic Slime. Any initial thoughts here?
Yeah, it's wild. It's different. It's very like almost native vibes. I know you're probably feeling that maple leaf.
Of course. We've pre-done our Cree research, and we found out that they are one of the largest indigenous tribes to Canada. So they have a territory that stretches almost coast to coast. So anything Canadian, as a Canadian national, I have to like. So this is a great one.
Would you mix up anything on the colors based on Canada?
I don't know enough about the Cree to comment. Maybe those are like kind of official colors, possibly. So I don't want to say anything offhand. I mean, like the way it looks is fine to me. It's almost built like a stencil of almost like a tribal tattoo. Yeah. The only thing is, maybe I would try to work in the flag in maybe like a different style silhouette, maybe in a different color. Maybe hide it in the yellow. I'm not sure, but all in all, I think it's a good offering. I think if it does make it through, Casey will definitely clean up the lines a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, like as is, like
yeah, that's a tricky one like that, especially like having something so different with kind of its own little voice, if you will. When some strong offerings so far. Again, could go either way. This is one of those ones that either jumps out at people. Again, I think it's always tough to like knowing that the core audience for Clink Room is pretty heavy on the West Coast. Southern California. You never know when something else might jump out at them. But it's always cool to see something new in there, man, and make us all think a little differently about how you may approach something else. But it's wild. It's got that kind of like wild vibe to it.
Yeah, and off rip, I'm not too familiar with green toxic.
Me either.
Slimes work, but keep it up, and hopefully we see more of them in the future.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see who we got next. Land of Giants. So Win is back. He's got 2 in the crits, and this time he's coming with big flies. So any thoughts here?
Yeah, really fun. These scenic ones have, I think they've been pretty successful. And the lighting on that one is fantastic. It's cool. I don't know. It's another strong one for sure. I like the lighting reflection. I do like the green too, as it's referencing the trees, the evergreens, and I'm assuming referencing the redwoods and stuff in Northern California. So again, talking back about the audience, it could do really well. I think it'd be pretty fun to maybe like break the border at the bottom and have the water
leak out,
running right out. Yeah, that'd be cool. And it seems maybe he's doing that already with the little green dots down on the bottom. But you could even like just lose the green border around the design and have it flowing out. But I mean, that's just little nitpicking type of thing because it's already really strong, man. It's cool. I kind of want to like take a crack at one of these scenic ones. I don't know who started it, man, but it's done really well. And there's some really cool ones out there, and this could be a good addition to that lineup.
Yeah, there's been some awesome ones I can think of. There was like the dinosaur. I think 65 Bolt did one, and
there was a fall night too with the deer, and then it reflected, and their reflections were on the water. Gosh, I forget the name of it, but that one was beautiful too. And yeah, this I don't see how this doesn't get through as well. Of course, though, so far there's been some bangers in this lineup, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. People are taking like that green, like monochromatic almost look and kind of layering it like it's a t-shirt or like a 3D image on top. So this is like Clink's stab at it. This reminds me a lot of the one from a couple years ago with the wolf. Similar.
That was Austin, wasn't it? Entire World.
I believe so. And then he had the wolf at the bottom. So this kind of has that feel to it.
For sure. Similar colors too. I think he used a little bit more like mints and stuff, but yeah, with the wolf like standing right in the middle of the trees. I think it was Hostile something or other. Forget. But I could see that for sure.
Yeah. I'm with you though. I don't love how the bottom ends. Like those green dots almost form that kind of almost like a face when you're texting someone. So dash underscore dash. I kind of like that face, but I'm with you. I would end it differently. That it almost looks like when you add a stroke to an image and you forgot that there's other pieces to the to thing, and then all of a sudden it's like,
that happened to me this morning.
That happened to me yesterday when I was mocking up something. I was like, I didn't delete that, or I didn't know that was part of the image. But so maybe that's a nod to something, but
for sure, they could have the water like spill out onto the brim, and somehow maybe put, I know Creature's gonna hate it, but maybe put the yellow on the UV. You know what I mean? As it's a reflection of the water. I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity there, but it's a strong design already. So
for sure. Yeah, you can see that it's like advanced color play happening here. So. Great job on Win and Big Flies. I'm not too familiar with Big Flies, so
newer. I've noticed more comments and being active in the community though. It's fun, man. So welcome aboard. Good luck, fellas.
Yep. All right, moving forward. Wild West. Win still got 3 in here. Okay.
Jeez, man. Trying to get on that level, Win.
Yeah. So we got the Win, the trademark speed dash line.
Yeah, for sure.
What are your initial thoughts here?
I mean, it's again another very strong one, like nodding to the west. Skulls, human or otherwise, sell, and having the snake on there is cool. It's a strong design, so it's obvious reason why
it was chosen. And Wynn's been pumping them out, so he's got a bunch out there in the waiting, as do some of us as well. But it's it's cool. Maybe some little things here and there that Casey inevitably can tighten up, like just removing some of the tiny little details. But then sometimes the details work out. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's another strong one, and we're at how many now? 7 or 8?
Yeah, I lost count.
Yeah.
We're getting towards the end, but yeah, I don't think anyone's ever had 3 in a session, so that's interesting.
I think I've been lucky enough that I had 2 in the shop at the exact same time, let alone crits. So
yeah,
I gotta get on it, man. I gotta start getting up earlier.
My only thing is the dash marks. I know it adds to the symmetry of the thing. I'd probably just add them on just the bottom of the rattle, just to show the movement there.
Oh yeah, it's a little movement.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think the head or the portions where he put it necessarily need to be there. But I do appreciate that he's swinging and trying to do different colorways. So we never.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like burnt wood, graphite with a beige under. I don't think I've ever seen that combo ever before. So that's kind of fresh.
Yeah, I don't have anything in my. I don't have the collection that some of y'all do, but I don't have anything those colors, so be quick to jump at it. And I know the dashes are his thing, but it already also doesn't necessarily need it. It's
exactly.
It's a pretty cool design offhand already, but who knows, man. Good Lord, this is a tough week, man.
Yeah, this is gonna be hard to get in.
Man, cheers to 3 in a row. I'm gonna call Wynn after this and figure out what's up. What do I need to do?
Yeah. But this is probably a Diamondback snake too, right?
I would assume so,
yeah. That's awesome.
They're not necessarily red, but I mean, hey, you're having fun with mascots and stuff. You use whatever colors you want,
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's see what else is here. Pinata. All right. So I feel like we've, at least I've reviewed this one. So he's trying his hardest to get it in, and I appreciate that. But Edge Branding is back with another deadly pinata that hurt himself. One of the most funny category of video is people hurting themselves playing with pinatas. Whether it's I usually don't like it when the kids get hurt. It's more funny when adults.
Absolutely.
Adults get hurt because they're naive or whatever. But the deadly pinata game strikes again. What are your initial thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun as he's. I have seen a few of these actually, different variations of it. Edge does some really cool stuff. Some really cool logo work on there, and a little quick nod throwing the skull in there too, nodding back to a skull cell too. It is one of the pretty fun versions of it. It's not something that's in my wheelhouse, but I do like seeing stuff like this and, learning from it and growing from it. I like that there's bright colors in it. I do, tend to lean towards the Vice blues and all that growing up in South Florida. Maybe throw something different on the undervisor. But I don't know. I know he's taken a few shots with this one. Very tough week. But who knows? Who knows what can happen in the crits? Maybe take away a cone or two, even though there is that symmetry to it. But
it's tough because he's tried so many times to kind of get this thing through. I almost think that he not necessarily abandoned this shape, but if the message isn't coming through, maybe even change it up. So maybe you got, I don't know, maybe a Grim Reaper is holding a pinata with something similar to this, because I don't like, if I didn't see the name of this, I don't necessarily read this as a pinata. Maybe I'm stupid, or maybe I'm I'm not immersed enough into the
culturally that maybe something that they saw. I get that though. I see what you're saying.
Maybe make it a creature, like we saw that Copa team have that donkey pinata.
Yeah, there is a. It's actually the
Is it a
Erie.
llama?
I think the Erie Seawolves actually that are
Okay.
about an hour that way.
Nice. What
They're,
creature is that? Is it like a cow or something? Some type of
yeah, I think it is. I think it's
donkey or
it's like
something?
a bull. It's a bull pinata, and it
Yeah.
does give off those strong Copa vibes.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that there already is a pinata, but hey, man, they're even the Copa identities are always looking for alternate logos and stuff. Erie, in especially, I think that, gosh, I can't even tell you how many different hats they have. Not even just with their Copa identity. So I wonder if they have that in mind as well. You know, because it does jump out in that minor league baseball Copa identity vibe. You know, so who knows, man?
Yeah.
We'll see. It's a tough week, but it's a fun one. You know, you never know.
Exactly. Best of luck to your Edge. Hopefully this makes it through. We know that you really want it. With
Hey, and don't give up on it either, too. That's
no, hell no.
Like, even if it doesn't make the crits vote initially, I think there's one. I did the mojitos, and initially I did it as a Cuban toady on a oh gosh, the name of the flower is escaping me, and it didn't go through. And it was kind of one of those ones, like I said earlier, I didn't want to give up on, and I wanted to do a mojito, and then I remembered the toady, and then I kind of just went back to like, all right, hey man, just do the mascot style, and it went through, and made it. So I think that also, if something doesn't get through right away, and you feel passionate about it, and you feel it's a good story, like keep going after it, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, people always judge the result, but they never know the process. So
yeah.
Sometimes it might take you a little longer, but the victory will be that much more sweet. So
for sure.
Best of luck to you on this design Edge. Let's see what else we got.
Nice.
This may be the last one. So fantasy football. So Clinker Addicted to Fitted and Aurelian got together. And it's getting there. We're almost at playoffs for fantasy football season, so this is not bad timing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a strong collab. Both those guys have been at it before, and Aurelian's like, I think arguably like one of the Clink Hall of Famers. Like, kind of has that Midas touch. Fantasy football does have a massive audience. It's funny. I'm interested to see how it does because it is a really tough lineup. Any other week you'd think this is like a given, but that was a really strong lineup. So so this will just come down to how many football fans are watching the Crits this week.
Exactly. He's got the Hall of Fame jacket, Vegas gold.
Yep.
Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know how much mass appeal it really does. There's a lot of people that do play fantasy football.
For sure.
Out of those people, how many people actually have a fantasy football trophy, I'm not sure. But, it's a cool idea.
Yeah. It varies. I think everybody does something a little differently. Back in the day, we had this massive flask. We called the Flanagan flask.
Oh, nice.
Won it once. I never actually drank out of it, surprisingly. But I think people do typically give some sort of a trophy and then some sort of like consolation prize to the person who comes in last place that has to do or have something ridiculous in their house. But I don't know. I don't know. It's a cool logo, and it just come down to how many football fans, like I said, are watching on Monday.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Like now, you see it. Well, there's more virality around, like shaming someone or making them do something crazy. So it's almost like a fight not to be last.
Right, right.
Because I mean, you have that happen if it's like a money league and you're not looking too good, and then they stop trying. Like it kind of ruins the league a little bit. So having a negative incentive to not finish last place is
keeps it exciting.
Makes the league way more interesting. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think that's I believe that's it. Yeah, that's it. We did it. We did crits twice. That was double the fun for us. So
made it through.
Some of the ones we got to review twice, we got a little bit extra practice, and then a lot of them new ones got added in at the last second. So that's pretty awesome. I think I like it being a bloodbath at the end. Kind of see, who makes it makes it through, because may the best design win, and no pun intended there.
I was just gonna say, I was like, somebody's got a 33% shot at getting one of them in.
Yeah, but end of the year, get the last one in, and the good thing about Clink is they're not stopping anytime soon, so I can't give away too much info, but there's a lot of stuff in the works, so I'm really excited to kind of have
more
that
in store for 2024, man.
Yeah. So thank you again for doing this. Thank you for being flexible.
Of course.
And, best of luck to you in the future, and I'm glad we got to take the time to connect. We've gone back and forth with text and stuff like that a little bit, but to have a more personable relationship with you, this is awesome, man. So
likewise, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and thanks for giving one more platform for all of us to spread our shenanigans, as I always say.
I'm trying. So for Leon and Patrick, we're out of here. Peace.
Peace.
You get swarmed with the storm, no matter where I begin. You possibly can't pretend that you had a chance to win. We swarm like a torrent in the wind. Put your ideas back in the trash bin. Get back with them trash bins. Bees and hornets.